Welcome to day one. I am so excited to welcome you to the masterclass series, Cracking the Autoimmune Code. And as I wait for our guests to join, drop in your names. I would love to know where are you joining in from and what's your name. We'll give them a couple of minutes for others to join us. So drop in your name and from where you're joining. I will be checking both StreamYard and Facebook. Also, Palak, if you can let me know, Shonali, that you can hear me and see me on Facebook and StreamYard. So that'll be great. I am just going to give us a couple of minutes to get started. So just drop in your names and let me know your name. Let me know where you are joining from. Raina, welcome to this amazing series. I'm so excited to welcome you. You're from Bangalore. Who else is here already? Geeta, the session has just started. I haven't started the training yet. The session has just started. So, Geeta, welcome. Where are you joining us from? I'm just going to give everyone a couple of minutes to join before I actually start the training. And please pardon my um, voice because my throat, went during the weekend, and I was a bit worried whether I would be able to talk today. But so I'm going to keep taking some cough syrup and stuff to keep talking. Benefer, so nice to see you. We have connected, but it's nice to see you here too. You're from Mumbai, yes. Geeta, yes, you can. So then you can hear me and see me. I'm just going to check on my Facebook friends. Um, if you can let me know whether you can hear me and see me on Facebook. I'm just trying to see. I don't want. One second. I don't see the live. Give me 1 second. Am I audible on Facebook too? If somebody could let me know, that would be great. Okay, let me just continue. Hi, Facebook user. I can't see your name, so I'm not sure. I can see your audio is clear. Okay, perfect. I'm just going to still check on Facebook. Yes, great. I think I'm visible on Facebook too. Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know. Um, Neha, you're from Indore. Welcome, Neha. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you here. We'll take a minute more before I get going. I hope you've all received the workbook. What we will do is we will do a couple of action items from the workbook. Um, I want this series of masterclass, this week I actually have planned out for you to be as actionable for you as possible, for you to not only understand more about autoimmunity, what's really going on, what can you do about it, but also to start taking practical steps so that you can actually find some relief and find a way forward. Like that's what I'm looking for. And from today, it's going to be diving quite deep into what is autoimmunity, what's really going on, why is your immune system behaving this way, what is the perfect storm behind your autoimmune symptoms. So all of that. So I hope you're going to take notes. Keep your workbook with you. We will do a couple of items from there, but I would like you to do some of the tasks, do whatever you want to do, completely up to you, and then share in the Facebook group. If you're already part of the Facebook group, then that's great. If you haven't joined, this group is only for women, but the men here can of course watch this StreamYard. But then I would like you to head to the Facebook group and share your win, and I will be answering questions in the day in the Facebook group too. Okay, so with that, I'm going to get started with the actual presentation. I am also going to be inviting one of my team members, Palak. She's waiting. I will be introducing her a bit later down the line. And she has a very interesting story. So I would like you to hear it from her. And again, if you're joining me now, share your name, share where you are from. I would love to hear about you. I'm just going to get started, get my presentation ready. But in the meantime, um, just keep sharing your name and where you are from. Great. So, are you ready to get going? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. If you're watching this on Facebook, Give me a thumbs up here. If you're watching this on StreamYard, give me a thumbs up. Are you ready to get started with day one? I certainly am. I've been preparing for this for the last few months. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen, if you can see the presentation clearly. Manoj, Palak, if you can just let me know that the presentation is clear. Yeah, then I will get started. Presentation is visible to everyone? Yes, Raina, ready as ever. I like that. Okay, yeah, I think now we can all see the presentation. Benefer, yes, you are ready. Geeta, perfect. I think I've got what I wanted to know. Perfect. Okay, let's get going without waiting anymore. This is day one, and today we are going to shift from fear to courage. Okay, that's what we're going to shift to. A bit about me, and I'll share a bit more. But I am a functional medicine certified health coach and practitioner. I started working with women. I mean, I actually was working with everyone when I got started in 2017. But now, in the last few years, I've been working with women with autoimmune primarily, but other chronic conditions. And I use a very different approach in the sense that I actually believe that our body is our best ally and our guide in our healing journey. And I call it a journey for a reason, because it is chronic conditions don't develop overnight, and neither do they disappear overnight. So it is a journey in that sense. And I help my clients navigate that all the journey, is all about up and down, the twists and turns that come, which is why I call it a journey, right? But it's all being guided. I am their guide, I am their mentor, I'm their accountability partner. But their biggest guide is always their own body. And that's what I want you to truly understand at the end of this 3-day masterclass series, that your body is going to be your best guide, no matter how many experts you are seeing, no matter how many coaches like me you're working with, right? So that's the difference. And I use a unique body wise framework, healing framework for my clients. If you're joining me right now, please drop in your name and where you're joining from, as I continue to go forward. So, this is a little bit about me, and this is what we'll be covering. So, we will be covering the perfect storm of autoimmunity. Actually, most of us don't get to hear about all this, right? I myself was not aware of all this till I started doing my training in functional medicine. So, there is a perfect storm. We will be covering that because it's quite important. We will also do some myth busting, right? I love that part of the presentation because it actually opens our eyes to what is really possible. It opens our eyes to move from being scared and being stuck to actually a place where you have a choice. You have a choice to do, what you want, right? To support your body. And what is a healthy immune response? How disease begins in the gut, functional medicine, and of course stories, right? And I'll start with my own story first, because I think stories are one of the best ways to understand what is truly possible, even for you. And you will become, by the end of today, what is, about the clear about the root causes. This is what functional medicine is all about. This is where functional medicine shines. You need to be clear about what your root causes are, what your triggers are. Otherwise, it is not possible to find sustained relief. Of course, medications are important. I always stress on that. It's not either or. It is yes and yes, you need medications. Yes, you need a diagnosis. Yes, you need to see a doctor if you are ill, if you are having, if you're having any issues. At the same time, you can also implement functional medicine principles or Ayurvedic principles. It's all about addressing the root causes, right? So you can do both, and at times both are necessary. You will understand the connection between gut health and immune function. You will separate fact from fiction, as I said. And of course, I think the most important thing for you will be what you see is possible for you, right? That is, I think, that is my promise to you, to show you what is possible for you, for your unique requirements, for your body. So, before I go any further, I am always amazed where I am today, in the fact that I'm blown away that I'm standing here in front of you. There are over 160 of you who signed up for the masterclass series. Not everyone will be able to watch it live. However, they will be watching it on replay. Replays will be shared. but it always, it's blown me away that I am here today as a functional medicine certified health coach and practitioner, and amazed. I amazed myself when I launched a podcast which is called Embrace Your Healing Journey podcast for women in December, and it actually smashed top 100 charts in its category across the world, and in the top 10 in its own category in India, health and fitness category. I have also had the honor of speaking at the Indian Association of Functional Medicine Summit conference, the second one in India, and also at an international summit this year, which is Autoimmune Recovery Summit. But it wasn't always this way. There was a time I was desperate and I was lost and I was confused and I did not know what our lives would look like, what our families' lives would look like, because my daughter was dealing with extremely severe eczema, which was just not coming under control. And we had done what we thought was possible. Like we had sort of, that's what I thought, that we had exhausted all possibilities because we had the best team of doctors, a very, very caring team of doctors. But I still felt helpless and powerless to do anything to help her get better. She would not sleep. She could not sleep through the night. She was in pain. She was itching. And this is after being on medications, strong immune suppressing medications from the age of 11. After all of this was the situation. So clearly things were not under control. And I lived in fear of losing her. We had a very, very severe crisis in 2013, and we almost lost her as a result of a drug side effect. And it was a harrowing time for us, for our family. I was anxious about our family's future, and so it was a very, very difficult time. And all I wanted to do was find a cure for her that could help her get rid of her eczema. Right? That's all I really wanted, and that's the reason that I stand here before you today. That's the reason I teach what I teach about immune system specifically, because eczema is also part of the immune dysregulation family. And I guide women how to confidently navigate their own journey, because I could have actually had, I could have benefited from having a guide to hold my hand during my own journey. And I didn't have that. I mean, I had somebody, and I'll talk about it, but I want to teach women to listen to their own bodies and use their bodies as their guide. I mean, their body is their best guide, but how to understand that, how to learn that language, and the language of the symptoms. And I'll be talking more about it on day 2 and day 3. And this is what I teach, so that these women who are stuck, they and men, of course. I mean, it works for everyone. They can take charge of their own health, right? Because that they can. I mean, that's what we are not really told. I wasn't aware of all this, and it gives you a newfound confidence in your journey when you do that. And that's what I want for you, and that's why I'm doing this entire masterclass, because I want to leave you with the tools that will help you to navigate your journey with more confidence, with more power, because it is possible, right? And I want you to first stop giving away your powers to everyone else, right? That's what we do. That's what I did too for many years. I simply assumed that if I went to the doctor, took the prescription, gave my daughter the medication, all would be well. That could not be further from the truth when it comes to chronic conditions, and we'll be talking more about it in this masterclass series. And I want you to stop doing that. I want you to take charge of your of and take ownership of your healing journey, right? And to it's your responsibility to find out what your body needs to thrive, not just survive, mind you, right? All of us are surviving. I don't think that's enough. I don't think it's enough that we are just okay, right? If somebody asks you how you are doing, you should say great. I mean, I mean it, of course, and mean it that I'm doing great. I feel happy. My body is happy. I'm at peace in my body. That's what you should aim for. Because why should you stop living your life? Why should you stop making plans just because you have a condition or a diagnosis? Why should it stop you, right? It should not. So we have to find, and you have to find a way to keep going, to understand what's really going on and address it in the best way possible. It's always easy if it is, if you have a guide, of course, but there are so many other ways that you can start. And hopefully this masterclass series will be that start of the journey for you. That's why I'm doing this, all of this. And I want to show you during these 3 days, and we'll have some Q&A sessions, bonus sessions coming up. I'm just telling you at the end of at day 4 and day 5 that it is possible for you to find relief from your symptoms. It is possible to get better. It is possible to address what is at the root of your disease condition, no matter whether you have a diagnosis, what your diagnosis is, or even if you have not been diagnosed yet, even if you have unexplained symptoms and you suspect you have an autoimmune condition. And full disclosure, I actually have a group coaching program that I'm launching exclusively for women because I work with women. That's how my programs have been designed, 1:1. I'm launching a group coaching program at the end of this masterclass series, and I'll talk more about it on day 3, but I'll share a bit more tomorrow. So if you're interested in working and getting deeper into this after this masterclass series, then you're free to do so. But in any case, what I have ensured is that this series has been designed to make it as valuable for you as possible, whether or not you sign up for any program after that. You will have enough tools to get started, to understand what's going on, and hopefully so that you feel more empowered and more confident. Um, okay, so everyone on the same page with me. We will start now. We will change gears and get into the first action task for today. There are two action tasks. This is on, okay, I don't think I've given page numbers. Okay, that's sad. This is basically the page after day 1 from the workbook. Uh, I have to actually make a point that to note that I have to put in page numbers. It's called Shift from Fear to Courage. I hope that you can find that. And I just want you to do one thing. I just want you to take a moment to jot down how you feel right now. Right? How do you really feel? This is a starting point for you. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. But if we take a bit of time to acknowledge how we are feeling, where we are, and be honest with ourselves, that's the beginning of your healing journey. Because healing actually starts with listening. When you feel, if you when I share my client stories with you, they will all share the same thing, and there are 3 4 of them who are going to share their journeys with you, not just to brag or boast about how good I am, but I think we sometimes need to hear other people to believe what is possible. And you will hear the same thing, that I listened to them, I heard them. Because so many times when we are going through a crisis or any kind of health issue or some other crisis, we don't have anyone to listen to us. I did. I mean, I had a very supportive family, but as a mother, I was struggling, and I honestly, I wish I had somebody who I could sort of put my heart up, because you don't want to stress your family members out a lot of times. So there are many things. So if you can, if you want to share, you can share it. But this is for you. Take a moment to jot down how you feel right now. If you are not fine with sharing in the group, that's okay too. But this is for you, and because we will again do a check-in at the end of the session. And to keep going, we will now continue to keep going so that we finish the presentation, because this is a hidden epidemic. It's a hidden epidemic, and most people don't really understand or not really are aware of that autoimmune disease starts with this ease in the immune system, right? And there is something that is going on, and that happens years, if not decades, before that this disease actually manifests itself. Ratna, thank you for sharing. Sudha from Hyderabad, you're hopeful and determined. Perfect. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So it's a hidden epidemic, and one thing that I want to share with you, before I keep going, is having one autoimmune condition makes you 3 times more likely to develop another, and you will understand why. I don't want to. It's not to scare you with this, but this is a fact, right? This is what research shows us, which is why it's so important that you get ahead of this problem. Which is why I'm doing this series today, because you will understand what's going on. And initially, it can show up in nagging symptoms like a headache or rashes or gas or bloating. Eventually it manifests as bigger and bigger set of symptoms, and that's when you get a diagnosis. There are also more than 100 recognized autoimmune conditions at last count. And the problem with this is that the fragmentation that happens the minute you have an autoimmune condition, and that's why you go to different specialities, right? So if you have a thyroid related autoimmune condition, you go to an endocrinologist. If you have a so depending on multiple sclerosis related autoimmune condition, you go to another specialist. So the problem is this fragmentation, even though at the base, and you will understand as we go ahead, it's the same thing. It's immune dysregulation at the root. So it has to be addressed at the root. You might see different specialists, that's fine, but at the end of the day, that's not the root cause solution, right? And so keep going, we'll keep going, otherwise we will I don't want to hold you up beyond an hour. So otherwise what happens is that the immune system, which has become dysregulated, and there are multiple reasons why it gets dysregulated, it goes on to claim additional victims in the future. And again, as we go through the presentation, you will understand why this is the case, because once you understand why this is the case, you can actually do something about it, right? That's what I want for you. Varsha, I feel you. You're from Varsha, okay, from Madrid, Spain. You feel helpless. Okay, diagnosed. I'm so glad that you're here, because I really know that you will get tools that will help you, and some knowledge and some clarity to keep going after this entire masterclass series. This is a very important slide. Okay. I think this is something that most people are not really aware of. This is from the book The Autoimmune Fix by Dr. Tom O'Brien. If you want to actually delve deep into this, you can get the book. Okay, so it's called The Autoimmune Fix. It's mentioned at the bottom of the slide. And I want you to understand about the autoimmune spectrum. It has vibrant health, as you can see, and degenerative disease. And this is the problem with disease diagnosis when it comes to autoimmunity. It starts with cellular damage, and some people, so this is no symptom stage, okay, and this can be, I've just given a kind of a an idea for you, and what can be the timeline. This is only 4 years, 2020 to 2026, but it can easily be much more. It can be a decade, which is why most people actually go for 7, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, before they get a diagnosis. And even after they get a diagnosis, they may not see too many symptoms, and they can just continue on the disease spectrum without even knowing it, because they're waiting for something to happen, right? And this is something that is happening. This is what you need to be very clear. So cellular damage can start, and it may or may not have any symptoms. Usually there's no symptom. Then you can actually reach a stage. Again, this is just an example, don't take it literally. You can basically reach a stage where there are no symptoms, or there's mild tissue damage, or there might be a bit of irritation. This is where typically people can get some gut related symptoms, gas, bloating, this, that. It's not much, but this is chronic, right? Then you reach organ inflammation, where there's increased intensity of symptoms. This is where actually people start seeking help. People start trying to figure out what they have, right? So this is where they are. And then this continues. And I recently had a call with someone who was diagnosed, I think 20 years ago, with RA, right? And now she's using a crutch to walk. Now imagine that 20 years ago, if she had actually been able to understand this, what I'm talking about today, she could have actually taken steps to not reach a stage where her disease progressed through this autoimmune spectrum that I'm talking about, and be on a crutch right now. That's the tragedy of this silent epidemic, and that's why I'm doing this masterclass series. So you can reach a stage where there are identifiable symptoms, and then of course there is a severe set of symptoms which come, which is typically the stage at most where most people get a diagnosis, right? You don't want to wait till that. Even if you don't get a diagnosis, there's so many other things that you can get started with today. Okay. So, because symptoms are not the first sign of autoimmunity. That is the other thing that I want to mention. It is the last straw, the last manifestation when your body is not able to compensate any longer. So, even if you suspect that there is an issue, and there might be an issue, it does not mean that you can sort of just ignore all of this, right? That's what I want you to understand. But the good thing is there's so many things that you can do, which we'll be covering on day 2 and day 3. So you will get some resources, some tools, and understand what you need to do. Because now I want to explain to you what is the perfect storm. What is leading? We actually know what's leading to autoimmunity. There is research behind this. This is not what I think it is. There is actual research. And in fact, one of the leading researchers on celiac disease and gluten intolerance, and a medical professional, Dr. Alessio Fasano, he's the one who coined this term, a perfect storm. This means that all of these have to come together for autoimmune disease activation, right? So the main things are genetics. Yes, you can have the genes for it, but now people are getting autoimmune disease diagnosis without even having it in their family. Why? Because all the other things are being met. And that's unfortunate. The world that we live in today, it's actually confusing our body. It's confusing our immune system, in the sense that the immune system is trying its best to survive and adapt, and this is a form of maladaptation actually. So anyway, the genetics is one of the contributing factors. The second is intestinal permeability, which is called leaky gut, and I'll talk a bit about it because it's connected to gut health, and that is why we always start in the gut. The third is a weak and imbalanced immune function. I'll talk about what I mean by balanced immune function. We don't want a strong immune function. We don't want weak. And there's one more slide that is a very important slide in this presentation that I want you to take a look at. We want a balanced immune function. It should react when it needs to. It should tolerate when it needs to, right? So appropriately tolerant. And the final thing is the environment. There can be a trigger. It can be so the trigger can be an infection. Trigger can be an infection or virus. So it trigger can be anything, toxin that has happened. Let me know. I think there's a connectivity issue today. If you can see my slides, there's mostly images. I'm not sure. Somebody has mentioned the slides content is blurred. If you can, Palak or Manoj, if you can just let me know. It's visible to me, but I'm not sure. So I'll keep going right now. So this is the perfect storm, and I talked about the leaky gut. The leaky gut, it's called leaky gut in slang. Okay, Palak, thank you for sharing that. It's called leaky gut in slang, but actually it's called enhanced intestinal permeability. What it means in fancy terms is that the gut lining is a one cell thick lining, and basically the digested food particles, the all of that passes through this one cell thick lining. So this is the top part is the that lining which has these standing things that you can call it. And when there is when the gut lining can become more permeable due to many reasons, and I'll talk about the reasons in 2 seconds, then all these undigested food particles, the bacteria, the virus, the toxins can get into the bloodstream, and that's what actually creates that's what aggravates our immune response and creates and the immune system basically gets activated, and that what creates the problem, and this is what starts the autoimmune disease process. And there are different causes why this happens, and what leads to this leaky gut syndrome is called, one is unhealthy diet. It can be a diet rich in processed foods, etc., which has a lot of it can have a lot of preservatives and toxins, and it can create imbalances in the gut bacteria. Then you can have chronic stress. Stress also impacts gut health by impairing nutrient absorption. When you are stressed, you don't really digest food very well, and this also can affect the gut lining and the gut health, and therefore the gut lining. Infections, medication use. Some medications actually disrupt this bacteria that we have, and I'm going to talk about it in a bit. Certain drugs like non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, then toxins actually. So these are the main things, and it's all a combination of all this. That's what makes any kind of chronic condition so tricky. It's always a combination of all this which leads to disease activation and disease process. And what happens as a result of this is that our immune system becomes like an overworked police force, right? Because the immune system is now reacting to all the foods that you're consuming, especially because your gut lining has become more permeable. And it then and then if you're having foods which have are highly processed, and the preservatives coming in, and colors coming in, and additives which are all there in processed foods and packaged foods, then it's not able to figure out whether it's a threat or not. So maybe it will start producing antibodies. So it becomes like this it has a cascading effect, right? And then your immune system over a period of time becomes hypervigilant. It becomes hypervigilant, it's long activated, and it's constantly reacting to threats, because because the food is coming in 3 times a day, 7 days a week. So it becomes long activated, the immune system. And then it can also sometimes get confused between a particular thread that looks like a tissue. That actually is what happens in the case of autoimmune conditions. And there can be many things that your body can be responding to. It can be toxin, it can be microbe, it can be a stressful period, right? Or even not too much of sleep. Sleep is a big one actually, and I focus on sleep a lot in my own coaching program. So underneath all of this, if before this immune system has already been of imbalance, then any of these triggers can be the one that breaks the camel's back, right? So it's typically a combination of what I said: enhanced intestinal permeability and other factors like nutrient deficiency. You're not getting the nutrients either because you're not consuming the right foods, or it may be you are consuming the foods that are healthy, but you're not able to digest and absorb it. And it's usually a lot of times it's the second one for most of my clients. And it can be chronic viral infections. So it can be so many things, right? That's what makes it so tricky. And this slide, next slide, is what I think is one of the most important slides in this presentation to understand what actually I'm talking about. What is immune dysregulation? This is what it is, right? And it's three main things that is at the root of it. One is food, and I talked about food, of course, which is highly processed, highly packaged foods. There's no nutrients in that. It can be toxins. So toxins itself is a huge problem actually for all of us living in this world, and stress, right? So these are the three main. If you break it down, these are the three main things, because this is what the immune system should be somewhere in that green column that you can see in between. It should be appropriately tolerant. That means it should neither be overreacting nor be underreacting. So if you see on the right, towards the right spectrum, it's a spectrum. There is a extreme underreactivity, right? Which is when you constantly have chronic infections, UTI infections, yeast infections, nothing, those infections that never seem to go from your body. So that is typically the case. Candida, right? It can be any kind of chronic infection, but it can be toe fungus. So you might be catching a cold. At the first cold that comes in the season, you're the one catching it. So all of that is on the extreme right, which is underreactive. So the immune system is not effectively able to combat any virus or bacteria. But neither is the other extreme good as well, which is your overreactivity. So it starts with eczema, which is where my daughter is in that yellow column on the left. Asthma, allergy, all of this is signs of immune dysregulation, hypervigilance. And the extreme case is autoimmunity, where you have autoimmune disorders. So lupus, celiac, RA, MS, right? All of the different autoimmune. So this is one of the most important slides that will explain to you what I mean by immune dysregulation and why you need to focus so much on getting your immune system back into balance. And the way you do that is through your gut, right? And let's keep going. So this is what I was talking about, that a healthy immune response is not just about boosting. It's not just about taking some supplement or taking one particular food which will help boost immunity. That's what you keep hearing about, right? I mean, when I have people asking me, how do I boost immunity? My point is that you should not be having to boost immunity. It's actually making sure immune system is healthy and it has a healthy response, and it is it's appropriately tolerant. It should not be reacting to foods that you're consuming. It should not be constantly reacting to allergens in your environment, all allergens in your environment, everything, perfume, this, that. So that's what, because the primary job is to tolerate, not react, tolerate. And it should be able to identify a real threat, right? Not a fake one, not stuff that should be so not the cucumber that you had or some such other vegetable that you had. A lot of people start developing food intolerances, right? They're called food intolerances or food sensitivities. And they say that I can't have this food anymore. This is what's happening. Immune system is actually now producing antibodies towards those food. And it all starts with the gut. Now you probably have some idea as to what's really going on, right? We'll keep going, and then we'll sort of we'll assess where we are. So it's your immune system is basically just trying to adapt to the situation at hand, right? To the world that you're asking your body to live in. It's neither broken nor it is dumb. Autoimmunity does not mean your immune system is broken. I want you to understand that. It's a form of maladaptation, right? And to ensure that you survive, that's why it's reacting in this manner. So we need to now bring it back to balance and to calm down the immune system, calm down the inflammation, right? That's what your responsibility is towards your body. But before we even get into that, these are some of the truth and myth. I want to do some myth busting with you. There are many, but these are, I think, the top myths that I come across, right? Can everyone hear me? Anything? No. I hope we are all on the same page. Just give me a thumbs up if you can, or a smiley face. I know that I'm on the right path. If everything is clear, the audio is clear. I'll continue here. We have a lot to cover, so I will continue, but we will. So just give me a thumbs up if you can hear. Okay, so the immune system. Now, your immune system, as I said, has not gone berserk. It's not broken. It's not dumb. It's just trying to adapt. That's the first thing. That's the biggest misconception that people have. So it's not about suppressing it. It's not about fighting your body, right? Perfect. Thank you, Raina. Thank you, Sudha. I'm on the right path. Autoimmune disease cannot be reversed, right? Or chronic conditions cannot be reversed. That's a myth. They can be reversed by focusing on diet, lifestyle choices, toxic burden, because now you understand why, right? You can understand why it can be reversed and how it can. It's not easy. I am not saying it's easy, but it can be done. And I will talk about what I mean by reversing, how much of it can be reversed, what is the difference between healing and curing on day two. I'll get into more details tomorrow. I don't think we'll have get that time today. Thank you, Shalmali, for letting me know. So these are the Oh, sorry. Okay. Again, the myth is that your body is weak and vulnerable, and suddenly one fine day you woke up with a disease. Not true. Not true. Whether it's diabetes, whether it's cancer, whether it's autoimmune condition, whether it's any kind of heart disease, it doesn't matter. You did not wake up one day and have that disease. Your blood sugar did not go up, beyond 120 overnight. It has taken probably decades, for for you to reach here. So understand that, and if you see the slide that I had showed earlier, it's a spectrum that the people are on. Health is on one side, vibrant health is on one side, disease is on the other side. So you have a spectrum, and if you've seen how autoimmune disease progresses, you will understand that it does not happen overnight. It has taken years, typically decades. Okay, because this is what we are trying to what I'm actually talking about, preserving immune tolerance. That's what your role is. You need to figure out a way how to actually have a healthy and balanced immune system. And it is possible by making different lifestyle choices than what you are doing now. And some of you might already be doing certain things. You've made changes in your diet, you're eating healthy, you're having, but it may not be the right diet for your body. It may not be exactly what your body needs. Maybe there are three more things that need to be done, and that's why you have not really seen the results. There can be many different ways, and we'll talk about it in the Q&A session, so you'll get to know, right? Because sometimes for some diseases there is no cure, right? And as I said, I will be covering this in day two, but I wanted to put this slide here, that sometimes there is no cure. Like some diseases cannot ever really go away, but you can still reverse it. You can still reverse the symptoms, because reversing a disease and healing from it is not the same thing as finding a cure for it. Healing happens at a not only at a physical level, but an emotional and spiritual level too, right? I have a client who has multiple conditions, and she has ongoing diseases, not just one, not just autoimmunity, but she's still healing from some of them, right? Because as I said, physically, yes, she's seen improvement, but it goes much beyond that, right? You can put it in remission. Most conditions, if they can be addressed early enough in the journey, in the first 1 or 2 years, 3 years, depending on how much damage has been done, can be put in remission. The symptoms can be reversed completely. It depends on how much damage has been done, really. But everyone can see improvements, right? So that's we'll be talking more about it in day two. So I'll be talking about that. Varsha, thank you for letting me know. So the autoimmune, this is what most people are stuck with, and this is why people probably don't see the results, because the step-by-step plan is not there. And you will actually hear about her. I mean, I was talking about her, that what is actually truly possible. So just I will continue to progress because I have a lot to share. But what is one new thing that you have learned till now? Just put it in the chat. I will take a look. What is one new thing that you've seen right now? Just put it in the chat before I continue. Okay. This is what functional medicine is all about, right? Functional medicine is a science-based, personalized. This is what the key thing is. It's all personalized, and it's about addressing the root causes of disease, right? This is what I do. This is the functional medicine approach that I take, which is why I am a functional medicine certified health coach. I have been trained in functional medicine, and I basically help my clients address these root causes that I was just talking about. We start always in the gut, so that they can restore health and immune function, immune health. Raina, autoimmune diseases are reversible. That AI is a slow burner. Nikki, yes. Shonali, better immunity is hinged on better lifestyle choices. Benefer, curing versus healing. We will That will be an interesting, I think, revelation for most of you as we go to tomorrow, because all things are interconnected. Nothing is disparate in your body. Everything is connected to everything else in your body. Like you are one person, right? So, which is why we talk about disease begins in the gut, right? And the reason is over two-thirds of immune system resides in your gut. And the reason for that is, which is very important for you to understand, is because that is the connection that our body has inside to the outside world. So the food and everything that comes with the food is goes directly into our gut. And by gut I mean stomach, small intestine, large intestine, where all the absorption, digestion, and absorption takes place. And it's like your border security force. The border security force will be at the border. It's like the border, right? Wherein stuff from outside can actually enter your bloodstream. That is why 70% of immune system resides in the gut. And your gut is host to trillions of microbes, and they play an important role, right? They do a lot of things, but one of the things that I want to highlight here is that they actually train your immune system, immune cells, to differentiate between what is a friend and what is a threat. That means if your gut is in poor shape, then your immune system is not getting the training, then that is when dysregulation happens, right? I hope you understand now. You're seeing the connection between your life, your environment, your genes, all of it, or to, the immune, the choices that you're making, and your gut health, and then immune function, right? It's all connected, because disease, as I just mentioned, often begins in the gut. And this is again a very, very important slide. Digestion, absorption, this is where it starts, right? You can see deficiency, because if you're not digesting your food properly, not absorbing properly, it can start with anemia. It can be a bit of headache, and not too many major things, but a few things. The second, then if it continues, then you have gastrointestinal diseases, where you actually start having IBS or constipation or bloating. So if you see, the intensity keeps changing and increasing, and then you of course have inflammation, which starts in the gut. Inflammation is a naturally occurring process where your body produces antibodies, your immune system produces antibodies, so that it can react to threats. There's nothing wrong with inflammation. The problem is chronic inflammation that happens in typical cases like this. We would die without inflammation, but the problem is the immune system never switches off. Inflammation continues, like, which is chronic, which is the case with asthma, migraine, fatigue, fibromyalgia, eczema, all of these. And then you finally reach a stage where it's proper immune dysregulation, and that's when the diagnosis happens. Okay, so this is a important slide, and I want you to take this in so that you know the path ahead for you, right? Because your gut is the epicenter of everything in your body. So this is what you need to focus on. So again, just reiterate what I've just mentioned. Disease begins in the gut. It can be lack of nutrients or poor, intake of the wrong foods, highly processed foods. Imbalanced microbiome is the collection of microbes primarily in your large intestine, as I just mentioned, that they play a very important role in immune dysregulation and enhanced intestinal permeability. Right? We've just spoken about that, and a lot of things can go wrong: medication, stress, etc., chronic infection. And when it does, then you have these kind of symptoms. This is a client of mine, and these are the typical symptoms that she had. She had a one autoimmune condition, but she had a lot of these symptoms, and they did not have a cause. Right? Most people don't get to hear of this. But when she actually addressed her gut, when she did things in a step, it has to be done in a step by step manner, right? That's when her actually life turned around. So it's about lifestyle changes, because the road to healing is certainly there, and it starts again with your gut. It's a step by step process. I'm just letting you know about this. I will not be able to get into details, because this is not a gut health class. I want you to understand the whole 360-degree view about autoimmunity. But this is the 5R process. So there's actually remove, replace, renoculate, repair, and rebalance. Most people are actually stuck at the remove part, which is, I've taken off gluten, I've taken off dairy, now what? Now I'm not really seeing any results, right? But there are four more steps which I take my clients through in my coaching program. So that has to be followed in a step by step manner. This is something I want you to do for yourself in the workbook. This is
Hi,
the workbook that is there. Okay, I think
this is Swati.
okay, so I'm just going to continue here. I thought I'd removed this. So Now, Swati, again, I'm not going to get back to that because I want Palak to come on board after this. So, this is what we are going to be doing. This is what I want you to do: prioritize, maximize, and minimize. Right? It is simple. I told you before, it is simple, but it is not easy, but it's possible. That's what I want for you. Palak, I'm just going to add you. Just let me know if you're ready till she comes on stage. I'm just going to check. Yeah, she is ready. So we will. I want to introduce a very, amazing person who worked with me in the past, and today she's coming on stage here. I'm just going to remove this so that we can see her properly. Yes, Palak, I just want you to share your story because today is about shifting from fear to courage. It helps others when when they actually hear people who have taken charge of their own healing, who have navigated their healing journey, and this is where you are. So I want you to tell in your own words.
Yeah.
Please go
So
ahead.
hi, yeah, hi everyone. Before introducing myself, I would like to applaud all of you as you have already taken your first baby step at charge of your health by registering for this masterclass. So, okay, going forward, I am Palak Gupta and an IT consultant and a functional medicine health coach. So, talking about me, me being part of this masterclass, I too sail in the same boat and had health issues as you all might be right now. So I had some questions like why it happened to me and how it happened to me, and there was no one who could answer it. So there was no one, literally no one. So I tried conventional medicines, Ayurveda, nothing worked for me. And even crying was also not an option because when I cried, so all my like symptoms used to get worse. So I thought like I should stand up for myself and I'll take charge of my health and basically my body. So it is all about body and mind. So I'll take charge of it. And I started doing some lifestyle changes. I was taking homeopathy medicines also. It was not that I just changed overall, but it was along with homeopathic medicines, I was doing those lifestyle changes and other changes. So, but even after doing everything, so I still felt stuck, and I felt like I'm some in dark tunnel. So, and because no one believed in me, so it was I was just in a dark tunnel and I was stuck there. But I could see that there's a light of hope out of that tunnel, so I knew that I will come out of it, and I started looking for some support. So that is how I found Anandita and started taking coaching from her. So that time she hold my hand, she believed in me, and she helped me to come. She helped me to feel the light out of that tunnel. So she just not transformed me or my health, and but me whole as an individual. So yeah, so that is my story.
Ah,
So of overcoming my fears and shifting to courage.
Palak,
And I
thank you
know,
for sharing. Yeah,
yeah,
continue.
I know most of you would be in that dark tunnel right now. So, and would want to come out of it and feel that light. So, believe me, you are in safe space, and you will get better. You will definitely get better.
Thank you, Palak. Thank you for sharing that. I wanted you to come on board because so many of us are stuck. I was stuck all those years ago myself, and I could scarcely believe that there was a way out. And you were in the same space. When we start off, it's really hard, and we can't see our path through. But it's amazing the kind of effort that you put in, and where you are today. You are actually working as a part of my team, and so I just wanted to bring you today and share your story in the hope that others here, whether it's Varsha, whether it's Geeta, whether it's Benefer, whether it's Ratna, whoever is here, I can see they also get inspired. They get the courage to take steps, right? It's not easy. I think, Palak, you and I both know it's not easy. Even Shonali is here, actually. Shonali has been working with me, but it is certainly possible. Yes, Palak. Anything else you want to add before we end the presentation and move towards the Q&A? We have about 10 minutes.
Yeah, Ananta, like you said, it's not easy, but if your hope. If you have hope and you are determined, so I think it just happens. You don't feel that you're doing a lot of work. So it's easy then.
I know
Because
that's yeah. No, no, go on.
yeah, because like I was saying that if you're seeing that light of hope, so you know that you'll get better. So
Yes, yes, it is. So just stay there. I'm just going to move the presentation. So in case somebody has any questions, then we can start the Q&A now. So we'll move straight into Q&A. We have about 10 minutes. So um, just put in the questions in the chat. If you're watching this on Facebook, then you can put it in the chat in the Facebook as well. But just put in your questions, and so that we'll let the screen be here only actually, Palak. So we have 10 minutes, Palak. So we'll see if we need to answer any questions. I would love to do that. Um, and we also have Shonali with us today. She's also worked with me in the past. So, all of us, I want to share these stories of transformation with you so that you actually see for yourself that what I taught you here today is actually possible in practice, right? It's good to know a theory. It's good to know about gut health. It's good to know about intestinal permeability. It's good to, know about the perfect storm of autoimmunity, autoimmune spectrum. All of that is fine, but does it really work in real life? That's what I wanted you to hear from Palak.
yeah, 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 and
So
everything
that
works.
yes. So I am just waiting in case there are any questions. Please drop them below, because
Yeah.
in yeah, I'm just waiting to give them a chance to put in the questions here before we end for today, because tomorrow again we have a lot to cover, and we will be covering what I was talking about the remission part of it, the curing versus healing, and why it's important to know the difference, and have hope that there is a way out, like Palak said. What are the characteristics of paralysis? I think it's important for us to understand that it works in a very different way than other diseases and acute conditions, which is why we don't see results, which is why we remain stuck. And I don't want you stuck anymore. We will be talking about lifestyle choices that we're making that often keep us stuck, keep us sick rather, right? And we'll be talking about three mistakes that people make often, and that's why they don't see results. And I will be introducing you to the transformational model, which is the transformative model, which is the renew model tomorrow. So we will be right here at 12 o'clock tomorrow. Just before we end, if you want to put and share with us, how do you feel now? How you felt at the beginning of the masterclass for day one, and maybe just in 1 or 2 words, if you can share how do you feel now at the end of this masterclass, you can see how far you have traveled, right? And for those of you who are part of the Facebook group, do share your breakthrough from today, some action that you have taken. It's there in the for the action steps to be taken on day one. It's there in the workbook. You would have received email, you would have received the workbook, and just brainstorm through this. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop in your questions inside the Facebook group. I'll be putting in a post there immediately after this. You can just put it in the comments below. Just share how what's going on, any breakthrough that you've had, any steps that you have taken. So there will be some giveaways every each day. So just okay. That I think Sudha has already mentioned inspiration, hopeful. Raina is emotional trauma, stress related to AI. Yes, stress is one of the key factors, not just AI, but any chronic conditions. Actually, I mentioned there are three things. That's if you break all the stuff down, it actually boils down to three things, which is stress, food, and toxins, right? So all of this has to be addressed. And stress can be physical stress, it can be emotional stress, it can be trauma, all of it. Geeta has asked a question, Palak. I'm just going to go through some of these, and then Geeta can how long it took. Varsha, do your surroundings also make an impact on your opinion? Yes, of course. If you saw the environment is basically one of the triggers. One second. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Palak. So the environment has an impact on any chronic condition, including autoimmune disease, which is why that slide, if you saw, you can watch this again, replay. I'll be sharing a link from and on Facebook. but the environment certainly has a role to play. Your environment determines how your body is reacting to it. Sudha, understood the underlying issues and possible changes to be made. Varsha, surroundings as in family members. I am talking about more of the physical environment. And so the foods that you're consuming, the chemicals that you're exposed to. But if you're talking about a very toxic relationship, it can be emotional trauma, it can be all of that will have an effect on your stress level. So whatever affects your stress, so stress can be, as I said, it can be physical stress, it can also be emotional stress, it can be mental stress. Yes, so all of it has an effect. Okay, I think Varsha, hopefully that answers your question. Sudha, I need help. Appreciate if you can share the recorded link. Okay, I will be sharing this link. It's already there on Facebook, so you can head straight over to the Facebook group. It's going to be there. And this replay I'll be sending by email later today. Okay, I think that answers. Palak, the last question that we are taking is the question that she asked. After this, we will end and we'll come back tomorrow. What are the symptoms you were going through? If you want to share, you don't have to list all the symptoms or whatever you want to share. And how long did it take to overcome? Yeah, you can.
So
Yes.
yeah, so it was some flare ups on skin. So it took it took me, I think, 2 years
Yeah.
to, yeah. So it's not like that that everything is gone, but yeah. So into whatever was there. So in 2 years, so it I mean, I was able to act normal, if I can say. Yeah.
But you saw improvements much before. You started
But
seeing the
yeah,
improvements.
yeah,
So you started seeing the improvement. That's how it works. You start seeing improvement. So you know you're in the right path. You're not,
right.
going
Ah,
around in the dark anymore. Right. But
yeah,
yes, of course.
many times, like I used to think whether it's right or not, whether whatever I'm doing it's right or not. So, but whenever I would just look back and see that where I've come, so yeah, so I thought, yeah, it's fine. I'm going in right
In
direction.
the right direction.
Hmm.
That's what you want. That's what you need. That gives you confidence to keep moving forward. Thank you,
Hmm.
Palak, so much for sharing all of this. It's not easy. Palak and I will be back tomorrow, actually, right here for day 2 of the masterclass. We'll be getting a replay of this. Make sure that you do the action steps in the workbook to whatever extent that you want to share in the Facebook group. There is a giveaway which is going to be announced, 3 giveaways actually announced tomorrow morning. And we will see you here back on day 2, which is overcoming skepticism, at 12 o'clock. Okay, bye.
Bye.